It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker from Oracle's Strategic Value Services team, Mike Garner.
Gosh, you don't get $5. Oh, all right. I have a clicker and everything. Hello, hello. This stuff works. This is good. So I live in Kansas City, and I'm sorry. And when I told my friends I was giving a speech in Pittsburgh, they're like, oh, that's great. And I said, yeah, it's even at Heinz Field. So they made me wear my Chiefs shirt. And then so anyway, I hope I make it out of here unscathed. You guys have dominated us for 20 years. Most of my dreams have gone to die, usually at this field. So, but I was also bet last night. We were out to dinner with some folks, and they bet me I couldn't use carrot cake, shuttlecock in Kansas City. Don't ask me how that came up in conversation. So I would suck at being a procurement. Let's just start there, because I don't even know what I win if I use those 3 words up here today. But I will tell you this, the next time Pittsburgh comes to Kansas City to dash my hopes and dreams once again, I highly recommend Jack Stack Barbecue. They have the best carrot cake in Kansas City. And then head on down to the Nelson Atkins Museum, where we have the largest shuttlecock, the badminton shuttlecock, sitting on the yard out in the front of this beautiful museum. So I don't know what I win, but there it is for those of you. Yes. I hope it's something big and cool, because, yes, I get a terrible towel, right? I probably want a terrible... It backfires. This is why in procurement you should know exactly what you're buying and getting, right? If I perform, what do I get? All right. So my name is Mike Garner. I am a recovering operations guy. I ran consumer sales and service operations for Verizon in the Northeast and Northwest. Then I ran a company called AFNI. Doesn't really matter, but we grew that to about 6,000 people in the business process outsourcing world. But most of my life has been in sales and service, most of it at the consumer level, some at the business level. And I've been at Oracle 3.5 years. I am part owner of 2 other technology companies in the CX space. And my lens through which, how do you accelerate technology buying is always, what is it going to do for the business, right? What's it going to do for my customer? What's it going to do for supply chain? So the way I think about all this is, what do I get, right? What should I get? What should I be thinking about when I am thinking about what to buy? How, and more importantly, I think what we heard earlier today, like with Bert's story, how do you use it? How do you get value from it? So I think my 2 themes would be, how do you use technology to better connect with the key parts of your business, your customers, your employees? And the other thing I think that is cool, and Chris was a big part of this, is at Oracle, we have so many great solutions, and we are so broad, right? We've got CX solutions, sales, marketing, advertising. We've got human capital management solutions. We do have ERP with all your finances and GL. We've got this awesome infrastructure, the Gen 2 cloud. We've got all these great things, and we're really, really good at them. But what's really cool is, even when we buy a company, we actually rewrite the applications so that they all talk to each other. So even if it takes you 12 or 15 months to get XYZ in, because that's solving a pain in the business, the beautiful thing is some large percentage of that work should be reusable the next time you try and tackle another problem in your business. So I think one of the cool things, and again, to Bert's talk earlier, is how do you make sure that you don't strand any investment? If you're going to start something that's meaningful, how do I take what I was able to spend there and make sure it's not stranded and it can be reused in another part of my business? So choose your beginning is the second thing I'd like to talk about. You shouldn't worry about where you start on the journey to digital transformation, as long as you haven't stranded that investment the next step you want to take. So I also saw the slide this morning. Was it 7.9% inflation, 7% jobs open, 72% I think was the number of CEOs that are worried about their job. So I'm going to give you my 4 cents today in terms of what I think procurement should be all about. So this is a great example of how the business should be connected, and you should probably stay on top of changes, especially as they relate to cost of goods sold in your organization. This is the best. I love Twitter. Like, there's so much great content out there. I mean, so I went down the rabbit hole the other day. I have no idea what I was looking for, by the way, when I found this. By the way, this girl, Mila Carditis, great name. And because of the name, she calls herself grain surgeon because she's a wheat trader. I don't know. This girl's got, a great sense of humor. But this is a disconnect between, I also heard earlier, right? Price is one thing, but if you want to be professional, it's the terms and conditions. How about that? How about that? Somebody's going to wake up and go, what the heck? We just lost $48 million in gas, and everybody returned their car empty. So this is why the enterprise needs to stay connected, right? If there's a funny anecdote to say why that matters, that would be it. One of my favorite people out there in the Twitterverse and the interwebs is a guy named Jack Butcher, and he owns a company called Visualize Value. So a lot of the things about how I think about from an operations perspective, how do I use the technology we buy, comes down to this. Every time I had a problem to solve, we tried to make it as simple in the execution as possible, because I think we would all agree, complexity kills execution. And sometimes it is going to be complex. You can't, right? You can't oversimplify, or you're just not going to get what you want. Sometimes it takes teams of people. Sometimes it takes engineering to be involved. But complexity, unnecessary, I think I should probably title this unnecessary complexity, kills the business. And it oftentimes kills the relationship you have with your employees and your customers. So simplify everywhere you can. I think this was a good point that Chris just made, right? There's data everywhere. I don't know how many petabytes, terabytes, megabytes, bajillion bytes. It was crazy, right? That graph. So everybody's got data. So I think as you go to work every day, and how do you add value to your corporation? How do I help it tell a story? How do I actually have the data tell me something I didn't know yesterday about my business so I could save money or make money, right? Grow the connection between us and our customers. There's a lot of great brands represented by Rourke Capital and some other players in the room. These are phenomenal brands, and they're very unique, right? Moe's is totally different than Sonic, which is totally different than Dunkin' Donuts. You go to those places for totally different reasons. I typically hit 3 or 4 in a day. The only one I have not gone into is an Orange Theory. I thought it was an Orange Julius, and I got the heck out of there as fast as I could. But all of these wonderful brands started by solving a problem, right? Meeting a market need. Then they got the formula down and said, how fast can we grow, right? Now it's just how fast can we execute, how fast can we grow? So solve via iteration. Then once you've got it figured out and it's working and it's profitable, that's why this franchise business is so cool, because you can just, you add capital to it, and then you keep good discipline governance around how they operate, and great, great things happen. And I love this. I do own a Tesla down by the river, and I live in it down by the river. But I love this. We're never going to get it right, totally right. But I do think the goal, whether it's procurement, use, or running operations, frontline operations, it's just be less wrong a little bit every day. We're always going to be wrong. Just be a little less wrong. I think that's a great, I know I look at my day, just a little less wrong. One less donut, one more good decision, maybe a salad, just a little less wrong in my personal decision making every day. Same thing to your business. So how do we help you do that? So again, I've been in the customer service business my whole life, and the biggest study I've ever seen done on what drives your ability to keep your customers happy with your brand, engaged with your brand, was done by the Gallup organization. Everybody know the Gallup organization? Anybody read a book called Human Sigma back in the day? All right then. Well, see, I'm adding values. I don't see anybody taking notes, which is very disturbing. Okay. I don't know what you get either. I don't even know what I won earlier, but we're going to get you something. Maybe my terrible towel. My gift to you. The number one thing you can do to drive engagement with your customers is have them be confident in you, confident in your ability to deliver what you said you were going to deliver, and do it consistently. The second, and by the way, these go up in importance, right? The farther you go up on this scale, the more engaged your customers are, the less likely they are to leave, the more they are likely to pay a premium for your service or product. And the second one is integrity. Things inevitably go wrong. They go wrong in a contract negotiation. They go wrong in the implementation. But do your customers believe you will deal with them with high integrity when it happens? If you have to give them a hard answer, do they understand at least how you arrived at that answer and why that is? The third level is pride. Are they actually proud to call themselves one of your customers, right? Am I proud to wear the Kansas City Chiefs? Way more proud than 4 years ago. If I'm being honest, way more. This shirt doesn't, I don't wear this shirt 4 years ago, right? And then passion, right? This is, I can't even think about my life without you, that brand, that product, that service in my life. Many of you probably have Starbucks in this category, right? Like, I got to get that triple mochaccino, whatever, non-fat, skinny thing, or my day is just shot. Some of us need 3 or 4 of those. But you can test for this. You can test on whether or not your customers have confidence in you, think you deal with them fairly, are proud to call themselves a customer, and if they're passionate about it. And it matters because the strongest correlation, there's 2 things on the customer side. It's how engaged are your customers with your brand? 23% lift in revenue when a customer thinks you're irreplaceable. And they shouldn't think you're irreplaceable because of the contract that you're in, that you're stuck in, right? That's not the irreplaceable we're talking about. But big things happen, and when the top line moves like that, all sorts of good things happen to the business. Here's the second thing that I think as we buy technology, use technology, we got to really remember is, and I heard this at dinner last night, often overlooked is, are we engaging our own employees, our own workforce? Whether they be full-time, part-time, contractor, are we doing a good job of keeping employee engagement high? And here, it turned out, here are the 4 things that employees want to feel, again, in order of importance, right? What is it that I get if I work at Inspire, right, or at Dunkin'? What's in it for me? What's my pay? What's my total rewards, right? What do I get? The second thing is it has to be very, very clear to me what I am expected to give for that pay. Going up, do I belong here? Do I like who I'm around, right? Do they make me better? Do they make me smarter? Do I see myself growing alongside the company and the brand? And you can just tell, every one of us, if we feel that, right, we're doing great work inside the brand. And fourth, do I see my goals intersecting with the goals of the company that I work with? You test for this amongst your employees. As it turns out, if you have technology driving better engagement with your employees, keeping in contact with them proactively, not waiting for them to say, hey, sorry, I'm out of here. All sorts of great things happen in terms of employee productivity. All sorts of great things happen in terms of absenteeism going way, way, way down. And when we talk about the Great Resignation, we talk about wage increase. I would say the cheapest way you probably fix some of that is just doing a way better job of making sure that everybody in your organization that matters to you, to the point earlier on the right connections, knows that you care about them, knows that you care about their career, and you just start the conversation of what can I do, how you doing, right? What's not happening you want to see happening. It's so easy. It's like when I had to fly on Southwest Airlines. By the way, nobody in here wants to sit next to me on Southwest Airlines, right? My plane was totally full the other day, and it's always the last 2 people are like, I'm sorry, I'm all you got, right? Second to last row, it's going to be me. I'm your seatmate, and I'm like this, trying to be good. But Southwest Airlines found out a long time ago that a smile was free, right? And all these other people are like, oh, we're going to come out with a new mobile app. We're going to do all this great stuff and see all these cool new buttons we put because we bought technology that allows us to do it. They smile and tell jokes on the PA system, right? That's free. We should probably look for free stuff that drives engagement both in our employees and our customers every chance we get. Don't have to spend money on it all the time. So engagement is key. The second thing is effort. I've been at Oracle 3.5 years. And I was very nervous to join Oracle because of what I would say were preconceived notions, right, of Oracle. And in 2 key areas. Are they easy to work for? And are they easy to work with? And again, coming from 20 years in service, in sales, and measuring engagement, I was very worried when I went to Oracle, what's the culture going to be like? Am I going to belong there? I've been in startups for 15 straight years, haven't worked in a large company since Verizon, and I've been super pleasantly surprised to be surrounded by really smart, energetic people that are trying to help people make better decisions and make them at scale. So very, very pleasantly surprised. And we've got a ways to go there, but we've also got a ways to go in terms of being easier to do business with. And this goes back to terms, right? We had discussions on ULAs that you want this flexibility. You want this ability to use licenses and take them with, right? And sometimes we have to go back and revisit some of these contracts we wrote that didn't give you the flexibility that you should have. And by the way, PAS, and what a cool thing, because ultimately our customers are going to demand from us that we have to be easier to do business with, and we can't lock them in or they will leave. Our revenue stream is more recurring revenue than it's ever been in our history. We've had to flip from a sell once times maintenance model to we better be on the same side of the table with you, or you're going to have an easier ability to migrate away from us in the future. We had to face that fact, right? 4, 5, 6 years ago, and then we've had to put the money behind building one stack. So when you did build over here in the back office, that it would talk seamlessly to the front office without putting you through integration hell. So I've been pleasantly surprised, but it's the amount of effort, right, we go through to work somewhere or to work with a company that actually is the largest predictor of loyalty and propensity to spend with a brand. More than engagement. Certainly more than even Net Promoter Score. So I don't know if anybody's familiar with this, the Harvard Business Review on customer effort score. If you've got some things in terms of what you're trying to do from a strategic value perspective for your brand through the use of technology, think about customer effort score. If you haven't had it down on your scorecard before, just think about it. So I think one of the things I'd really like to do in my 2.5 hours with you this morning, just kidding. Some of you are like, whoa, no. In the next maybe 15 minutes is, this is a great graphic, right? This goes for how we all look at the world. There's this truth, this big shining light of truth, but we look at it through our own bias, right? Our own little hole, and we only see that, right? So we've got our perception. If there's anything I could do to maybe think, you know what? It's been 3 or 4 years since I really had a discussion about with Oracle or Celonis or somebody else, right? Or PAS about how can I tackle this problem? Have the conversation, because you'd be amazed, right? How different we all are. If I come into any one of your businesses today and ask you what things are like and what are you going after and what was in your way, those are totally different answers, right, than you would have given me 4 years ago. And how you're tackling them is totally different. Same with us. We have to get better. We've had to get better, or we're going to lose. We're just plain and simple. We still do $40 billion in business. The mix has totally changed. We're starting to actually finally grow our business, but it was not easy. The market told us we were wrong. We were off, you know? So we're getting there, but we are getting there. I feel it. This is my kid, Grant. I have one son. His name is Grant. So he started growing hair like, crazy. And this is about 4 or 5 years ago, and we're at a breakfast restaurant. And he gets pancakes, and his hair is so crazy. I think he calls it flow. I don't know what it's called. He's eating the pancakes, and he comes up, and he's got syrup all over in his head. This is a problem I would love to have, by the way. I would love to have syrup in my hair. I haven't had syrup in my hair maybe ever. Maybe when I was 9. I don't know. But look at him. He's so happy. I'm like, you have syrup all through your hair. He's like, oh. And then he just keeps on eating. I'm like, oh, my gosh. So then he grows into this goofy-looking thing with crazy flow. This is about 2 years ago. Then he went through a little Ted Lasso phase. And now he's in the Matrix. He's fully in the Matrix. 2 years later, the kid's got his first big-time job working at a pharmaceutical company, and he's got key card access to certain rooms and no access to a lot of other rooms. They have not allowed him to drive heavy machinery, but he's in the Matrix. Look at that haircut. My God, I had no idea what he looked like. But he saw his grandpa for the first time 3 or 4 months ago, and he's like, who are you? Right? And that's what I think, that got me thinking that's what Oracle is. We're totally different than we were 3 years ago. That kid's totally different. I hope it takes, but I also don't want him to go too far into the Matrix, right? Like, keep your personality, keep being awesome, keep being you. Don't let anybody else tell you what to be. Be authentic. But boy, am I glad you got a job. So the other thing that it turns out that no matter what industry or business you're in, customers like to feel 4 things all the time. They want to feel like you know them. You really know me. You remember me. I don't have to say it's Mike, right? Remember I just spent $3 million with you, 4 quarters ago? Have you forgotten me? Know me, know your stuff. That goes to the confidence, right? Know your stuff. Come prepared. Do your homework. I shouldn't do it for you. If you can do part of my homework, even better, right? Respect me and my time. This is one of the biggest ones. Respect me and my time. How do we use technology this is what I'm getting at. How do we use technology to drive these 4 feelings all the time? And then keep me informed. Don't make me call you or text you or get on the web chat or email you about the status of anything. Whether it be my flight tomorrow, my shipment, right? The billing dispute. These are the 4 things. So when you think about buying technology, think about, is it driving those 4 things? Or is it noise? Is it signal or is it noise? So this is Oracle's stock chart, and it's about 3 years. I think my time frame is 3 years on this. So I think we're finally starting to get some stuff right. We come out, we announce, every quarter. And I like the green line better than I like the blue line, right? But just to show you a shift of, we kind of stayed the same in terms of market cap. And by the way, the market eventually catches up to you, right? Are you adding value or are you not? Are you treading water or are you not? The market will eventually tell you. Your customer will eventually tell you. So we're going the right direction, which is good. Number one thing I think we need to do is take distraction out. Reduce distraction, reduce friction as much as possible for our customers. We've got a long way to go, but there's just some really cool stuff we've done on both the cloud infrastructure side and the apps working together side that is just super powerful. And we're getting very, very close to having you say, you know what, I don't care if I start in service sales or marketing or advertising, and then the next thing is HCM or human capital management. The next thing is getting my financials to auto-populate and guide people to the work. Wherever you start, should work together. So number one, I think Oracle is on a great mission, and I see good evidence of this every quarter, that we're trying to remove the distraction because it dilutes everything. It certainly dilutes the value that we both thought we were going to get from the relationship when we did a deal. And this is what we find. When we get it right, we don't have to have you have 20 different solutions, best of breed, and then figure out how to interconnect them all and have them talk to each other. When we get it right, you get, oh, okay, wow. If I could do that with just 2 things or a platform approach, things can really move forward, right? I'm not spending 30 to 70% of my time making stuff talk to each other. I'm actually spending that time figuring out what's it doing for my customer, my employee, and my ability to understand my business today and tomorrow. And I think this is a good point. Michael Saylor's a crazy dude. He's in Bitcoin or something. Just because you can acquire the thing doesn't mean you can maintain it and certainly get value out of it. Amen to that, right? I can afford it. Really? You know what that decision costs you year 2, 3, 4, 5? That's the longer lens I think we all have had to take a look at. So that's a great slide about Oracle. See all the places we are? Beautiful. Look at that. This is the 40 seconds of the beauty of being us. We're in every one of these spaces: ERP, supply chain, human capital management, advertising, CX. And then what we did was we realized we needed to, again, do some of the homework for our customers because it was taking too long for them to get up and see value. To Chris's point, he was dead on. By the way, Chris really helped a lot of this thinking and move us forward in this thinking, by the way, before he went to Slowness. So from a sales, a go-to-market strategy, as well as on the tech side. But this is cool. I mean, we do all these things. We just got to make sure that they work together. We've got them all rewritten on the Fusion stack. We still got some holes here and there where they just don't talk out of the box, and they need to. They need to. Or we need to have a PaaS solution that makes it easy. We have to have recipes, and the biggest thing we've done in the last probably 12 to 18 months that I've seen is we've finally started to build very specific industry solutions. If you're in food and beverage, you want to know, right, what do I get out of the box that talks my language? If you're in the financial services world, you need to know what comes out of the box that talks my language so I don't have to start from scratch on building my reports or helping my business users understand what to build or how to connect the dots. That's the goal, single source of truth. We started as a database company. We thought we were a database company, and then we'd always be a database company up until probably 8 years ago. Everybody was coming after us on the database side, right? Because they should. You're the biggest player. You kind of started it. I'm going to eat your lunch because I'm going to do a better job of connecting with customers. I'm going to solve the problems you haven't you haven't solved fast enough for them, we're going to come eat your lunch. So we've had to change our view and say, you know what, let's take it as an advantage where we started our roots as being this data company, and we just have to do a better job of master data management, customer data management, product data management, supplier data management. Make sure you can build those models once and reuse them all throughout the enterprise. I think that's one of the most powerful things that we're doing. And then, and we talked about this last night at dinner, you know, we're all used and conditioned to, we're on the B2B space, right? Or at least we buy for companies, right? And then hopefully to be used in the consumer or business space ultimately. Make it easier to use for the love of God, right? So that's great. You got one code stack, you got one data model, but if I still can't get to it or use it and the UI sucks, adoption goes nowhere. Therefore, value goes nowhere. Probably the biggest, I think everybody would agree, the biggest problem with real value from any investment is adoption and use. So that has to, the UI, the user experience, actually gets you a Siri or a Hey Google type experience. I was trying to see if I could get some phones to go off. Type of experience by asking natural language questions around supply chain today in your business and getting actual understandable responses back from the system. Same thing with human capital management. How are we, I would love to be able to say, how are we doing in San Antonio today with, you know, with the labor pool? Are we up, are we down? Are we on target? Are we on budget? Just give me that answer. You know, do we have 27,000 people today or do we have 24,000 people today? Because they quit. I don't know. How do I ask that in natural language? How do I get the answer back in understandable terms? Move on. Very cool. If you haven't looked at our new UI that sits on top of all of the applications we sell, you should see it. It is so non-Oracle, you're going to be so happy. You're going to be so happy. OCI, and this is a part of the business I don't understand enough, but talk about a group that has actually looked at what's hard about doing business with them, what's too expensive doing business with them, and just radically try to change that. It's amazing. In many cases, they are 40 to 60% cheaper than the alternative out there, whether it be compute or storage. And what's really cool about what they're doing in cloud is they're really helping customers actually migrate the workloads to our cloud for free. I don't know if we've ever done anything for free at Oracle. We got stuff to buy, like Cerner. So very rare that we do something like this, but I'm very proud. I don't work in that organization. I'm super proud of what they're doing to try and make it easier to buy, use, adopt, and get value. So this is pretty cool. I've been here 3.5 years. I saw a slide, I don't know, I saw some data 3.5 years ago that said, hey, we're top right quadrant in 18 different areas. That number, when I got the slides for this year, 51. That's ERP, supply chain, human capital, CX. 51. My point here is this. If you had to go with a niche player or a best-of-breed solution to fix this problem in your business, because that was just markedly better feature, function, price-wise, you shouldn't have to do that anymore. We have to. The value's in the platform, right? No matter where you start, you should not strand that investment and be able to carry that over and let it accumulate or compound value for you. But first, we got to be good at that first thing. That is maybe the slide I'm most proud of. It's third party, talking with customers, not our data. We're getting to where there's no trade-off on the application feature function side, which is cool. One of the first places of our business we found this out was in human capital management and ERP. If you tied those two things together and you had finance and your labor pool, which is typically the largest expense for many of us in here, it's up to 70 or 80%, right, of cost of goods sold, 50 to 70%. Everything you have to build to understand what's going on with your employee base and everything you have to rebuild in the financials to tie those things together, you only have to build once now. Start on the HCM side or the ERP side. Good news is it's already there waiting for you on the GL side. 39% savings if you did HRP or an HCM and an ERP solution together. 39% cheaper because you can build in one and transfer that work over the other. Very cool. Lots of bad things happen if you don't do that. Very cool stuff. Check us out. We help Zoom do a bunch of really great stuff. On the industry side, it's very cool. We have over 1,000 people that get up every day and just focus on food and beverage at Oracle. How do we solve their problems, food and beverage specific problems, better every day and put it into the code? There's four levers of growth, right, in any company. Labor, capital, code, and an audience. Customers, members. Our job is to make sure that we allow you to leverage code to drive the other three in a meaningful direction. So our team knows what's going on in food and beverage. They are doing really, really good work to try and minimize the cost per transaction at the point of sale, to go along with you to help you get to when you can't do things in person, how do you do them digitally, and have the experience still be a positive one, maybe even more positive than before when everything was in store. So it's pretty cool. So one of the big themes in where service and sales is going is you got to go from reactive to proactive to actually predictive if you can. I think that's super important and 2.5 times more likely to increase your customer lifetime value if you actually get to this predictive part. I know there's a problem before there's a problem. I assume that there might be a problem coming up because I'm not sure you understand how much money you spent yesterday versus you spent with us 3 weeks ago because of inflation, and now Mike has to take out a second mortgage to get his main course delivered. I mean, has anybody gone out to eat in the last, I was talking about this last night, 3 or 4 months? I'm poor. It's March. I'm running out of going out money. I go out and I'm like, oh, this is delicious menu, delicious food. It's so good. I can hear myself getting bigger. It's so good. And then you get the bill, and I for the first time in my life, I'm getting sticker shock. Is anybody else getting sticker shock? I order a lot of things by number. That's crazy. The number 3 at XYZ was never $12. It is now, and it's going to make me think maybe I should make a sandwich at home. You better be tight with your customers, right? Because they're paying more than they've ever paid for your good or your service. So it's going to be that much more important. All right, how are we doing on time? We got 2.5 hours left, so. One of the cool areas where we thought, what's the power of the platform, is we did this really cool thing called Enterprise Service Management, where we took all the things you have to do, and I apologize for the slide. I promise you this is only one of the crazy, eye checker slides that I have. We tied everything from how you do service to contracts to billing to supply to outside field service, tied it all together, one platform. And the reason why that is so cool is this. As you make decisions on technology, there is a very real cost to integrate with the rest of your ecosystem, right? So we've asked a bunch of customers, what is the real cost to you? When you buy this service application, you buy this field application, you buy this different system or the point of sale system that it needs to connect to, what's the real cost per interaction or integration that you build? And then how much is it to maintain? A very, very conservative estimate of that is about $55,000, okay, up front. Let's call it $30,000, $35,000 to build an integration, have these two systems talk together, and this is very not complex stuff, right? And then I'm gonna have to maintain it. I gotta have people that know how to maintain that, right? Something changes in either of the systems, I gotta maintain that and change how they talk so I still understand my business end to end. This is a very real cost. And so IDC says, from a productivity level, meaning adoption and use of the technology you paid all this good money for, it's worth $38,000 more annually if it just integrates, if it's already integrated. And you have another $35,000 to $38,000 that you don't have to spend from an IT cost of keeping them connected. So there's real hard dollar reasons why you want to make sure when you're making technology decisions that they're going to talk, all these different components are going to talk, or it gets really, really, really costly for the business, and that compounds. There's a bunch of examples, there's a bunch of math. I'll leave it at this. You can spend anywhere from $2 to $12 million over a 5-year period if you don't figure out the integration map, along with the product feature map from the very beginning of your procurement process. Super cool stuff. I was going to tell you all about the power of a receipt. I mean, think about that. There's a transaction. Mike just paid $12.48 for the number 3 at his favorite fast food restaurant, quick serve restaurant. All that stuff on the receipt is so powerful. Who am I? What did I order? I ordered two sandwiches, because sometimes they do that, buy one, get one. 2 fillet of fish. But now I know what Mike likes, or I should, right? Now I know how much he's willing to pay, or I should. Now I know how to drive that and actually have that receipt drive supply. Do I need to reorder, fillet of fish? Because Mike came in yesterday. He's been here 3 times this week. Things are going rough for Mike, But he's back. But it should trigger my supply chain. It should trigger my GL. It should trigger my accounting. It should just, from that store all the way up to the brand, right up to the PE firm. It should just drive, know, and automatically trigger. And that's really cool power of when you have a connected end-to-end system. This is very cool. So I know Rourke Capital's here. These are 3 of the brands. These 3 brands are still in the portfolio, correct? So I subscribe to this guy, like the Wolf of Franchises or something on Twitter. Again, if you want to know where I get all my great stuff, it's Twitter and then Twitter. So there's a guy named Joe Johnson, and he owns 2 Meineke's, 1 Mako, and he owns 1-800 Radiator. And this is brilliant, but this is when Oracle gets up every day, we should think about how we help Joe Johnson. This is brilliant on his part. Do you know this story, by the way? Okay. Nobody knows Joe Johnson? Shoeless Joe? That's Jackson. So Mako is when your car's in an accident, right? Something happened to the exterior of the car, hopefully not the interior too much, right? But something's wrong with the exterior of the car. It needs to be collision repair. Meineke is all the stuff inside the car that can go wrong. He owns them both. Well, guess what? When you're fixing the inside of your car, he notices the dent and talks to you about fixing the dent. When you come in for the dent, he's like, hey, let's check the oil. Brilliant, right? So he's what we call horizontally integrated, his own 2 businesses. 1-800 Radiator sells supplies to both of them. 1-800 Radiator also sells to his competitors. So he knows what are people buying. At my stores and everybody else's stores, he knows it first. As long as he connects the dots, he's vertically integrated, horizontally integrated. He does it at a scale of 4 total shops. That's what we want to, right? Oracle needs to get up every day and think, how do we help that dynamic be repeatable, right? No matter what business you're in. That's just cool. He knows more than his competitors. He's got this amazing ability to be in your face, having the right conversation at the right time, with a high propensity to spend across the next brand. That's what we should enable you to do. And if we do that, Oracle's going to have that green line is going to go way far right. So connect with your customers, connect with your employees, connect with your business. Each point of it, don't get stuck paying $6 gas, right, and charging $4. And when we do it right at Oracle, you should be able to choose your own beginning and not strain the investment. I think I'm done. Any questions or thoughts? Well, I'll leave you with that. I'll be around, and more importantly, there's really super smart people from Oracle that actually know how to solve problems. They're here too. So, but anyway, it's a pleasure meeting you guys, and enjoy your trip, and take it easy on Kansas City next time you see us, please. Thank you. Thanks.